Just got back from rescuing some animals in the Arctic. But now that those baby polar bears are nice and safe, let's review a roller coaster. I'm gonna rank every coaster and give them a review. Every drop and every hill, every launch and every loop. Rate it 1 to 10 and then we'll do it all again. Gonna rank and review every coaster. Arctic Rescue is SeaWorld San Diego's newest roller coaster, officially opening on June 2nd, 2023. This Intamin manufactured triple launch coaster offers great theming, unique ride vehicles, and an overall exciting and fun family-friendly ride experience. Arctic Rescue is SeaWorld's 6th roller coaster, and I think this is the best one in the park at appealing to guests of all thrill levels. While Arctic Rescue is the fastest and longest straddle coaster on the West Coast, the coaster doesn't have any large drops, and in general there aren't many strong forces. To quickly look at the coaster stats, Arctic Rescue has a height of 30 feet, a top speed of 40 miles per hour, a track length of 2,800 feet, and a nice ride duration of 1 minute and 3 seconds from dispatching out of the station to hitting the final brakes. So, as the stats would indicate, the coaster certainly is not intense, but it does have a nice kick to it that everybody can enjoy. Guests that may not be able to handle more intense attractions like Electric Eel, Emperor, or even Manta should have no problem being able to ride Arctic Rescue. The ride does also have a decently low height requirement of 48 inches, as well as a maximum height of 77 inches. But the minimum height requirement of 48 is the same as Manta, but still a little higher than Journey to Atlantis. And while Arctic Rescue is on the tamer side of things, it is also definitely still very, very fun for those who might prefer more intense roller coasters, such as myself. But now let's go ahead and look at the ride a little more in depth, starting with the off-ride experience. Arctic Rescue is located towards the back right of SeaWorld, and it shares a building with the Wild Arctic Animal exhibit. The new signs differentiating the two experiences look absolutely amazing, and they serve as a sort of entrance into this small plaza area. Scattered around this outdoor area are boxes, crates, and various other expedition theming. There are also plenty of signs in this plaza area, sharing several facts about the Arctic, the animals that live there, and of course the efforts to rescue and rehabilitate them. So in classic SeaWorld fashion, there is a bit of an educational twist to the theming. Arctic Rescue and Wild Arctic have two distinct and separate entrances so that you can experience the animal exhibit without riding the coaster, or you can experience the coaster without going through the animal exhibit. That being said, the exit for the coaster does let you out into Wild Arctic unless you choose to leave the exhibit. So the Arctic theme holds true from the moment you arrive into the area all the way until long after you get off of the ride, which I think is really, really cool. Before getting in line for Arctic Rescue, if you have any bags or loose articles, you will be required to put those into a paid locker or leave them with a non-rider. This area has even more theming and some really trippy and fun blue lights that turn literally everything blue. Now, the queue line itself for Arctic Rescue takes place almost entirely outdoors, with a series of switchbacks in the Arctic Plaza area. Once the line makes its way into the building, you are already almost at the station. And the interior of this station building is so cool. The highlight is definitely the screen on the ceiling that slowly changes colors, essentially emulating the northern lights. In addition to that, there is uplighting around the loading side of the station wall, some blue lights hanging from the ceiling, and vibrant green, orange, and blue accents all around. And I bet this station looks even better at night without any of the light bleeding in from outside. I just haven't had the chance to ride it at night yet, but even in the daytime, this station is definitely a vibe, with the only downside being that I wish you spent more of your wait time in here because it's fun. But once you are assigned one of the 8 rows, and those gates in front of you open up, it's time for the on-ride experience. Like I mentioned earlier, Arctic Rescue is what SeaWorld is calling a straddle coaster. As the name would imply, these seats are meant to make you feel like you are straddling a snowmobile. The lap bar restraint comes down between your two legs, and while it has a bar that you can hold onto, the snowmobile handlebars in front of you are definitely the way to go, as they further contribute to the feeling of riding a snowmobile. In addition to being unique, the seats and restraints feel nice and open, with the upper half of your body being completely unrestricted. There's also a good amount of space between each row, which really just adds to that open feel and allows for great visuals no matter where you sit. However, I will say the restraints don't seem to be the most accommodating, as I did see a few people being removed from the ride, presumably for not getting the restraint low enough to verify. But to swing back to the positive side of things, these trains look like snowmobiles, and I think they look really great. And the on-ride theming doesn't stop at the trains, as the entire outdoor section of the ride is filled with things to look at. The ground is a mix of black and white, with the white definitely giving a snow-like appearance. There are also plenty of trees and smaller plants scattered around the ride, and these already add a lot to the ride, but once everything grows in, I think the plant life will go from really good to absolutely amazing. Additionally, there is lots of rock work, several signs, and even a full-scale helicopter that was previously in Wild Arctic. So the theming definitely elevates the coaster experience itself, as it really does feel like you are riding a snowmobile around an Arctic outpost. But as far as the ride forces go, Arctic Rescue is definitely pretty mild, but there are a couple of tight turns with some good positive G-forces, and a few whippy transitions as well. But even though the ride is somewhat tame for a roller coaster, it is definitely far from boring. The ride feels fast-paced and exciting the whole way through, and that is thanks to three main things. It's low to the ground, which makes it feel like you're going faster than you actually are. It is quite compact, so you're flying over and under track the entire time. And, of course, most significantly, there are 3 launches. Each launch gets progressively faster, and I absolutely love this. The ride just gets better and better as you go along, so it's definitely a nice change of pace from more traditional roller coasters. Now, the launches themselves are not particularly forceful, they're just there to get you up to speed in a fun way. The launches consist of drive tires, which are what propels the train, and these drive tires give the acceleration sort of a rugged feel, which might sound like a bad thing, but I actually really like it, given that it is supposed to feel like you are, in fact, riding a snowmobile. So I think that slight bumpiness actually contributes to the theming. And don't get me wrong, the launches still feel smooth, as does the entire ride. It is a very smooth, very comfortable ride from start to finish. And now, to take a more in-depth look at the ride experience, let's quickly go through the layout. Upon dispatching, you roll forward out of the loading area and immediately turn 180 degrees to your left. I think it's fun that the ride pretty much starts right out of the station, as you slowly pick up speed heading towards your first launch. This launch is slightly inclined, and as I mentioned earlier, this is going to be the slowest launch so far. The elevated S-bend turn that follows is taken pretty slowly, and offers minimal forces, and at this point in the ride, it kind of just feels like you are starting to warm up. That's followed by some low to the ground turns, and it includes a really exciting near miss with the track going over your head, and this is a common theme all throughout this compact coaster. These first few turns offer mild laterals with some relatively quick direction changes. Nothing too crazy, just fun. You then rise up into a second S-bend that is a little faster paced than the first, making it a little more fun than the first. That's followed by a right-hand turn, and then the ride kind of fakes you out by banking to the left, but not turning left, and then you turn right again. You're still not feeling a ton of forces on your body yet, but I think this is a really nice misdirection, and it keeps the ride experience up to this point nice and varied. You then hit the second launch, which is noticeably faster than the first, but still nothing too intense. This launch does propel you through a tunnel, which greatly adds to the ride's excitement and sense of speed. The left-hand turn that immediately follows the second launch is definitely the most forceful moment so far, with a nice little whip of lateral G-forces, as this is a pretty quick transition. You also get another nice near miss overhead with more tracks and supports. That's followed by this long, drawn-out hill that provides a very mild yet pleasant floating sensation. and it also offers a couple of gentle changes in direction. The turn that follows is quite compact, and I was surprised by how forceful it was, at least compared to the rest of the ride so far. This turn's still not intense, but it does have more positive G-forces than what I expected from the ride. Transitioning out of the turn, you get more mild laterals, before heading into a small hill that provides another gentle moment of floating. And at this point, you probably won't be surprised to find out that there is another near miss with more track flying over your head. You then have another squiggly fake out section similar to that section before the second launch, but with an upward trajectory, more exaggerated leftward banking, and a bit more whip and faster pacing. This combination of elements provides decent lateral forces, and the exit has yet another great near miss. You then head into the third and final launch, which is the fastest and my favorite for that reason. And at the end of this launch track, the ride will take a photo of you on the right-hand side. You then head up into another elongated hill that is sort of turning to the right as you are changing elevation, where the front offers the tiniest bit of a floating sensation entering the hill, and the back offers a tiny bit being pulled through the end of the hill. You also get another dose of relatively mild positive G-forces at the bottom of this hill. You then turn right into my favorite part of the ride, what I like to call Arctic Rescue's wave turn. This is definitely where the ride feels the fastest to me, as the train banks hard left while traveling pretty much straight forward. This gives you a fun sensation of gently tossing you to the side, and it is the most out of control moment so far. That's followed by a right-hand turn that is banked pretty heavily to the right, which heads into some small turning hills, all of which feel quite fast, especially compared to the first 2/3 of the ride. You then hop up into the final brake run, heading back into the outpost, and if you look to your right, you'll notice a cute little Easter egg with the number 97, which is a nod to the opening year of Wild Arctic. A cute little touch for sure. So, what would I rate Arctic Rescue? I would give it a very strong 7.5 out of 10 for my personal rating, but it's honestly a 10 out of 10 family thrill coaster. The pacing is great, the theming is fun, some of the turns are really exciting. I could definitely see this being the favorite coaster of a younger rider, or maybe someone that just doesn't care for rides that are too intense. So there are definitely no negatives with this coaster. I'm just not giving it a higher rating because I do prefer rides that are more intense. But that being said, I still had a blast on it, and I do think the coaster is perfect for what it is. Now, as far as where Arctic Rescue ranks amongst the 274 coasters I have been on so far, it sits at number 115, just one spot above the very similar Wavebreaker at SeaWorld San Antonio. So I may just have to do an Arctic Rescue versus Wavebreaker video. Go ahead and let me know in the comments if that's something you would like to see, and go ahead and let me know what you think of Arctic Rescue. Have you been on it yet? If you haven't, are you looking forward to getting on it? Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this, and make sure to tune in next time for Iron Rattler, or the dragon at Legoland. My hard drive's kind of being a little stinky, so I'm not sure what files I'll have access to, but yeah, bye.